I now wish to invite Honorable J. Meshoe to the podium.
Honorable President, Honorable Deputy President, and honorable members, because of the shocking reports of brutal rapes these past weeks, I'm going to devote most of my time this afternoon addressing this scourge and making proposals the ACDP believes should be adopted to help deal with this crime. In December last year, after an Indian student was brutally raped in a bus in Delhi, there was a national outcry, with thousands of people taking to the streets of Delhi, angry, some crying and demanding that women be given more protection and that perpetrators of the heinous crime be swiftly arrested and brought to book. When 17-year-old Anine Boysen was raped, her intestines ripped out of a body by young rapists, one of them known to her. One would have expected a similar national outcry, with thousands of people demonstrating in the streets as in India. Alas, only a few hundred people protested. And to those outside who have been protesting, continue doing so until your voices are heard. Mr. Speaker, the ACDP is very concerned about the increasing brutal rapes that have become part of our society. In yesterday's dispatch online, there was a report about the rape of a 110-year-old grandmother from Jojweni village in the Eastern Cape. This is shocking and disgusting, and the young man who did it should receive the severest punishment. How should government deal with such cruelty in our society? I agree with comments that were attributed to Contralesa President, the Honorable Patikile Holomisa, who reportedly said, and I quote, "It is clear we need a punishment that is worse than a lifetime in jail," close quote. Speaker, South Africa's rape statistics are like a country at war with itself. We have the highest number of declared rapes in the world, with Interpol reporting that a woman is raped every 17 seconds in South Africa, and 1 in every 2 South African women will be raped at some stage in their lives, and half of those will be under 18. We have to acknowledge that we have a serious, endemic, and sustained culture of extreme violence against women and girls, and drastic action must be taken by government to stop this unacceptable cruelty. Women, grandmothers, and children have the right to feel safe in their homes and communities. They have the right to demand protection from government, as we saw women in India do. Judge Albisex once said, and I quote, "To the extent that it is systematic, pervasive, and overwhelmingly gender-specific, domestic violence both reflects and reinforces patriarchal domination, and does so in a particularly brutal form. Women and children are even being raped in police custody by police officials. In Yugoslavia and Rwanda, this is considered torture and is prosecutable not only as rape, but as a crime against humanity. It should be the same in South Africa." Adding to the problem, police officials have been guilty of not collecting rape kits from hospitals, with some being left for more than 2 years. This incompetence contributes to the low conviction rate. These agents of the state are breaking the law, and each investigating officer that does not do due diligence in rape cases should be prosecuted, close quote. There are a few important things that the ACDP believes should be done to help drastically lower rape incidents in our country. Firstly, communities, particularly men and boys, must be told in no uncertain terms that sex is not an entitlement. And secondly, although there are efforts to train police to be gender sensitive, there are countless reports of police insensitivity when a woman reports a rape case. Police officers should receive specialized training to deal with rape cases. Thirdly, access to pornography by children is rife, and we do not have legislation in place that prevents children from being able to access pornography on their cell phones, for example. When children access pornography, it really damages their psyche. They do things based on what they they see in pornographic material, and it completely desensitizes them to moral issues and to what rape really is. If government is serious about fighting the scourge of rape and sexual abuse in the country, then they cannot and should not allow pornography to be freely available everywhere in South Africa. Fourthly, the use and influence of drugs and alcohol has contributed immensely to the problem of rape in our communities. Removing all illicit drugs from society and arresting all drug dealers should become a government priority so that our children's future can be secured. Fifthly, those convicted of murder and rape should never be released on parole. A clear message must be sent to the public that rapists will be dealt with harshly and those found guilty will be severely punished. Sixthly, the majority of South Africans want capital punishment to be reinstated. A government of the people, by the people, should listen to the people. Having said the above, I now want to appeal to churches out there and all other religious formations to speak out much louder against rape and women abuse in our communities. They should warn our people, particularly children, about the dangers of alcohol and drug abuse. They should be seen to be leading the moral regeneration campaign in our country. The President further said that government is clamping down on corruption. He knows that most South Africans want to know why more than 200 million rands were spent on renovations in his private residence at Nkandla with taxpayers' money, and yet he's quiet on the matter. Speaker, there are two questions I want to ask the President about this secretive expenditure on the Nkandla project. Firstly, even though we agree that the safety of the President and his family should be a government priority, I want to know why the President needs a bunker. I want to know why the President needs a bunker. Are there perhaps any plans by some comrades or foreign governments to bomb the President's residence like the French soldiers did when they were assisted by the UN troops stationed in Ivory Coast, who bombed the residence of former Ivory Coast President Laurent Gbagbo? Secondly, if reports in City Press newspaper were correct, then why was taxpayers' money used to build a tuck shop for one of the first ladies? Obviously, this allegation challenges Public Works Minister's contention that government only spend money on security upgrades at Nkandla. Speaker, the fact that government departments have spent more than 102 billion rands on consultants highlights government's wastefulness in keeping incompetent and unqualified comrades in office. Why don't they replace them with competent ones so that these billions of rands could be used to build more schools for children who still learn under trees and in mud classrooms? Lastly, on the issue of Palestine, I find it disheartening that with about 90 nations in the world accused of human rights abuses, the President can only see the Gaza conflict, when abused people in Syria, China, Russia, and our neighboring Zimbabwe are but a few crying out for attention. Mr. President, are you aware of the Christian residents who live in fear in Gaza and have appealed for protection from the international community? They are allegedly harassed, raped, and robbed by Hamas and Islamist extremists with no protection. Will you also speak out in their defense? I wonder why the President chooses to be so biased and selective in these matters. Thank you.
I thank the honourable member.